really that dumb to put a house in her name?
Yes.
Just a second. Well, listen, there are certain things that you can't help, and one of those things, Mr. Wallen, is stupid.
Welcome to another edition where we're bringing you the most epic moments where Judge Judy completely destroyed people in the courtroom. In this case of Judge Judy, a woman is suing her ex-partner for vandalism. She alleges that he deliberately caused damage to her car in front of their son and is seeking compensation for the repairs. The defendant denies the allegations and claims that he is not responsible for the damages.
I actually had enough with him. This is what your case is about. You allege that when he drove your son home at 7:30, there was a kerfuffle. You were annoyed that he brought him home at 7:30. He was annoyed because of him, whatever, and you allege that he scratched your car.
Yes.
The plaintiff begins by presenting her case, explaining to Judge Judy what exactly happened and what led to the incident of scratching the car. The defendant, her ex-partner, however, looks pretty defensive and acts like he did nothing wrong.
And I get out of my vehicle to go to the passenger side to get Jackson out of the car. And he, at that time, exited his vehicle, so now we're crossing paths. Jackson had fallen asleep. So I was waking him up. I look over and he's all leaned into my car.
The woman proceeds to explaining what happened at the night of the incident as Judge Judy listens very carefully and tries to understand what really happened. According to the plaintiff, while she was waking up her son, who was present the whole time, but asleep in the backseat of his mother's car, and taking him out of the vehicle, her ex-partner came really close and leaned into her. As she said, she wasn't sure what his intentions were, but she assumed he wanted to take her phone, because as she said, he had a habit of taking things. Judge Judy fiercely states that she doesn't want to listen about things that are uncertain and wants to know the facts about what happened.
I didn't know.
Don't be most likely. You saw him leaning into your car.
Yes.
From the information provided, it's not clear what led to the actions that happened, other than the man leaned closely to his ex-girlfriend. As the woman said, she was scared that he might do something, so she took his car keys and tossed them over into the road. And her ex-partner wasn't going to stand there and do nothing, so he did the same to her. He took her keys and he tossed them as well.
I grabbed his keys out of the ignition of the car he was driving and I tossed them into the middle of the road to get him out of my car. And he then grabs my keys and he gets out of my vehicle and tosses them as hard as he could into an empty lot.
Okay, so you threw his keys into the road, he threw your keys into an empty lot.
Correct.
So far, that's pretty consistent with what I read in both the complaint and the answer. Go ahead.
Continues to tell Judge Judy, while she went to take her keys back from the spot where her ex-partner tossed them, that's when she saw him with what she thinks was a knife, scratching her car in front of her son while he was still there.
A lot to find my keys, and Ryan was, yelling pretty derogatory terms to me, and I turn around, and that's when I saw him. He was coming around the passenger side front fender, and he gets something out of his pocket and did this motion like a knife, I thought, and he goes across my front.
At this point, Judge Judy asks for evidence. She asks the woman for pictures of her scratched car. The plaintiff begins by presenting evidence to the court and to Judge Judy in the form of pictures of the damaged car. She shows the judge photos of deep scratches on the car, explaining that these were caused by the defendant's actions.
My front driver's side.
Do you have pictures of your car?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at them. And I'd like to see the police report as well.
Okay, there's pictures and there's the police report.
The woman pursued legal action and filed a report with the police, who began an investigation into the incident. However, the man claims that he was never contacted by the police regarding the case and claims that she told him that she dropped the charges. Despite the woman's initial decision to press charges, the man claims that she later dropped the case against him. He asserts that this is because he was never contacted by the police and was therefore unaware that he was being charged with a crime. However, the woman denies dropping the charges and claims that she never took any action to dismiss the case. She asserts that the man is simply trying to avoid responsibility for his actions and the damages he caused.
Filed criminal charges?
He asked if I wanted to press charges, and I said yes.
And you said yes. Other than the contact that was made by the police on the 2nd, were you ever contacted by the police again?
No.
With regard to this?
No, she dropped the charges the next day.
No, I didn't.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Show me.
Did she drop the charges?
Yeah.
How would I have that? The police?
Well,
I never got a warrant.
Then you don't know what happened.
Well, a warrant never came out for me.
That doesn't mean she dropped the charges, sir.
Well, she told me the next day she dropped the charges.
I didn't know.
Oh, no.
As this case comes to an end, Judge Judy doesn't hold her breath and calls up the man for his actions. It's clear that she holds him responsible for what happened and what he did, as she calls him liar in front of the courtroom. Based on the evidence and testimony presented, Judge Judy concludes that the defendant is responsible for the vandalism of the plaintiff's car. She orders him to pay the plaintiff for the damages and dismisses the case.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You are such a liar.
Then how come I never got charged for it?
Because they may have had other things to do than get in between you two idiots who had a fight in front of your 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You have to pay for the scratches on the car, you fool.
Every time I go around her, there's
You
a fight.
fool.
Hey, would you like to see some of her text messages to me?
No, I don't want to
gotta-
see any text
I got
messages from her.
some
I
things
think
here
you're a
that'll
big
change your mind
baby.
about her.
I think you're a big baby. Judgment for the
I wish
plaintiff
I
in
could
the
play a
amount
couple
of
of
$549. We're done.
This case involves a dispute between Sarah and Chris, who were on and off in a, as Judge Judy says, social and roommate relationship. The woman is suing her ex-social friend for destroying her phone after not giving her money to pay for the loan for the motorcycle he bought for himself.
I've known Mr. Wood
And-
for a long time.
And your relationship with him is strictly as a roommate.
It's been other things, but at the time, yes, we're roommates. And at the time that this happened, we.
I got it.
All right, good.
Judge Judy asked the woman for some kind of proof. The woman says she has text messages between her and the man that she screenshotted before, just has some trouble finding them at the moment.
Other than the emails, photographs that you took a photograph, a snapshot of your phone, is that what you did, and then emailed it to yourself?
Of my broken phone?
Of the text messages,
Yes,
Ms. Wenzel,
Your Honor.
is that what you did? You took a photograph of your phone.
I screenshotted it and emailed it to myself.
And you did that because, just for my own information, why would you do that if it was on your phone?
Chris started exhibiting some aggressive behavior towards me.
Judy finds it a bit strange why the woman went through the trouble of emailing herself the text messages as they were in her phone in the first place. That is when the woman starts telling how the man was showing aggressive behavior towards her and was refusing to pay her the money for the motorcycle loan.
And by the time the first loan payment was due on April 19th of 2015, I called him 2 days prior on the 17th and asked him for the money, and he told me, now's not the time to be asking me for this. I don't have time for this. And my concern immediately was that he was not going to be paying me for the loan.
Okay, now I want you to tell me the date that he destroyed your phone, and then we're going to take a recess and you're
He
going to go
destroyed
find
my phone around the middle of April 2015.
Judy listens carefully and asks the woman to explain a bit more about how her phone got broken. The woman said that her ex punched her phone with the ring he was wearing at the moment after finding a text message between her and some other friend.
Tell me how.
My phone had gone off and he picked it up and was reading a text message from a friend and got mad and punched it, and he was wearing a ring.
Which friend?
My friend Jesse.
Okay, we're going to take a break. You're going to go find it, and as soon as you find it, I'm going to...
As Judge Judy took some time to look at the photos that the plaintiff finally found in her phone, a woman was a witness in this case asked Judge Judy to give her a right to speak. As she started explaining herself, it was clear that Judge Judy was having none of it. She pointed out that she isn't addressing her in any way and that she should just sit down and listen to the case as it was coming to an end.
Having known Chris for so long, I know that he's a really resourceful person. If he hypothetically needed this money to buy a motorcycle, he would figure out a way to make that money.
Sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
He figured out a very resourceful way of getting the money.
Why wouldn't she get a contract written out? I mean, that's what I would do.
Am I addressing you?
This case is about a couple where the man is suing his ex-wife for the money she owes him. The plaintiff claims that all the money he got from his trucking was put in a joint bank account where both he and his ex-wife were allowed to use the money.
Okay, so this is what the case is about. The two of you lived together as a couple for 9 years. Now, when you lived together as a couple, Mr. Whalen, when you got paid from your trucking business, what did you do with the money?
The money went in the bank, and Miss Brown had
Checking or savings?
a joint checking account until May of 2015.
Okay.
Judge Judy doesn't mince her words explaining the case, as she clearly states that this is not a court where someone should help to solve their financial issues just because they decided they no longer want to be together, calling their case a financial mess.
Nor judges who are willing to waste their time for two people who choose to live together, and then when they break up for whatever reason, they want somebody else, some stranger, I am a stranger, to figure out their financial mess. We don't have that, because this is what your case is about. She locked you out of the house, and you say she won't let you take a tractor.
As Judge Judy states, all the payments went in and out from a joint bank account, so technically the woman was making payment on his vehicle as well. With the money they had together, it is clear that she disclaims this case right from the beginning.
Sort of together. She's got a counterclaim. She says you took a truck that she made payments on, and she wants payments for those.
She
from you.
neglects to mention the 2014 Jetta and the 2007 Taurus.
Just a second. I don't care.
As the case unfolds, Judge Judy discovers that both the man and the woman have had more than friendly relationships with other people. While the man says that he put up with that situation for 2 years, the woman chose to end things immediately when she found out. Once again, Judge Judy managed to make the whole audience laugh calling the man Schlemiel in front of everyone because he chose to stay in the relationship himself even though he knew what the situation was.
Shared a bank account. You left.
Not willingly.
Well, you didn't expect her to live in a situation where you had a more than friendly relationship with her best friend.
I lived with that situation for over 2 years with Miss Brown's friend, Pat.
Well, listen, if you chose to be a schlemiel and live that way, that's your issue. She chose not to be a schlemiel.
She did live that way.
For 9 years and had a joint bank, they both put their money in that same bank, so the money was not only his, and all the payments that were made from that account were made from both of them equally.
For my own curiosity, Mr. Wallen, what would you do with a tractor?
The tractor, I plow snow with it, I mow lawn with it.
On your little 75 by 100? You gonna...
The driveway needs clearing in the wintertime.
Yeah, fine. Well, you don't get it.
But I actually have the proof from the bank account that the money came from my income.
I don't care.
Apparently.
I don't care. You shared a bank account for 9 years. You each put in funds for 9 years. And you purchased things together for 9 years. Now you're not together anymore.
The man can't hold his anger as he sees that his ex-wife will get to keep the house as well, as Judge Judy remains calm but doesn't hold back from calling him stupid once again, as he put himself in this position and now he can't do much about it.
Then she gets to keep everything and I get nothing?
Oh, I don't know about that, sir.
Well, that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
No. She said you took a truck. Did you take a truck with you?
And the property in Oak
No.
Grove.
Did you take a truck with you is my question.
Yeah, the truck I paid for.
Just a second. That's what we're talking about. She says,
And the house that I paid for that she's still living in.
really? Are you really that dumb to put a house in her name?
Yes.
Just a second. Well, listen, there are certain things that you can't help. And one of those things, Mr. Wallen, is stupid. I can't help you.
If you enjoyed watching this Judge Judy moment, then don't miss out on watching our next video.